Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the dependency of India on Russian weapons, and also we are going to discuss that how the trend of the weapon import by India from Russia has changed in the recent past, and also does India have any other alternative for importing weapons apart from the Russia. So the context in which we are discussing today's topic is obviously the recently or ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. This war has led to the Western countries believe that India is not able to take a very stern position against the war of against the invasion by the Russia because of its heavy dependency on the weapons. Not only that, even it is believed that New Delhi or India has been trying to walk a very fine line, negotiating its relationship with the United States and other Western nation on one side, and the historically deep and strategic ties that India enjoys with the Russia. However, this also have started a debate because recently, as Russia has invaded Ukraine, Western countries have came together, all the European Union, US, Canada, Australia, and they have put a very severe and strict sanctions on Russia, which is believed to impact the weapon market and the weapon manufacturing capacity of Russia as well, apart from its oil and gas capacity. And it's believed that the sanctions on Russia can have not only long-term impact on the Russian economy, but also will have long-term impact on the decade-old defense trade relationship between India and Russia. So it is in this context we are going to discuss about the dependency of India on Russian weapons. So first of all, if you try to understand that how this Indo-Russia defense ties fares, so we can divide India's relationship or India's dependency on imported weapons in two phases. First is between independence and up to 1970s. Between this period of almost 20 years, India was totally dependent on the Great Britain as well as its Western partners for import of most of its weapons. However, things underwent significant change after 1970s when India leaned toward USSR, that time Russia was a part of Soviet Union, for both basic kind of equipment as well as sophisticated weapons. The important weapons that India had imported during this time from Russia included all across the spectrum: nuclear submarines, aircraft carriers, tanks, guns, fighter jets, as well as the missiles. And as present, the currently recent report released by agency has said that the share of Russian origin weapons as well as the platforms that India uses across the whole Indian armed forces, that means comprising of Navy, Army, as well as Air Force, is as high as 85%. This actually refutes the claim where earlier it was claimed by another report that India's share in the Russian share in India's armed forces is around 60%. Apart from that, there is one very credible information center as far as the weapon import is concerned, that is the Stimson Center. So Stimson Center's report has says that the breadth of Russian origin platforms is 85% of major Indian weapon systems. So these two reports are almost showing us the same data as compared to the earlier report, which said that it was 65%. So as per now, we can understand that this 85% is much more accurate figure. Apart from that, on the global scale, we try to understand that Russia enjoys the position of second largest arms exporter across the world because it exports arms to almost 45 major countries, following only by the United States. Apart from that, if you look at the contribution of Russia and US in the terms of arms export, globally, US enjoys the first position with 37% of global arms export, while Russia enjoys the second position with exporting around 20% of global arms share. This report has been published by the most famous agency that is called as Stockholm Institute of Peace and Research, that is the most credible agency as far as the defense related data across the globe is concerned. So what about the Indo-Russia defense ties? Now obviously India since 1970s has been one of the largest importer of Russia, but it has changed its position, and now not only from India's position but from Russia's side also, India is the largest importer of its weapons. At the same time, from India's perspective, Russia is the largest exporter of weapons and arms to India. If you look at the year between 2000 to year 2020, Russia accounted for about 66.5% of India's arms import, which is a very stellar number. And if you try to understand this data in the term of absolute money or monetary terms, then Russia has received around $35.8 billion from India for its weapon export. USA has received mere $4.4 billion, while Israel has received just $4.1 billion. So these are the three major arms or weapons importing countries as far as the India is concerned, and we can see Russia outnumbers them by very far significantly numbers. However, one thing we have to notice here, that there is a change in trend that is being observed in the we can say India's import and export policy. First of all, the Russia's share in Indian arm import was down to about 50% between year 2016 to 20. The earlier data which we quoted was for 20 years between 2020. However, in last 4 years, there has been significant downcutting or downsizing from the arms import from Russia. And however, it is believed that in the recent terms, we have several deals that India has been participated in with Russia. Thus, in short term, experts expect increase in the Russian arms export at least in the coming next 5 years, notwithstanding not taking into consideration the effect of sanctions. Thus, we can say briefly that India still remains the main recipient of Russian arms in year 2000, between 2016 to 20, accounting for 23% of the total, followed by China 18%. Keep in mind, this is the figure from the Russian military database. Russia has exported around 23% of the total weapons value to India and around 80% of its total weapon export value to China. So obviously, we have to understand that the weapons that we are importing from Russia is varying across the sector and include even smaller weapons to larger weapons. The major important weapons that is also believed that can come under the sanction, that is under the CARTSA Act of USA, is recently S-400 Triumph air defense system deal between India and Russia. This S-400 Triumph air defense system, as of now, is believed to be the best air defense system in the world, and India has given an order for 5 units for $5 billion. At the same time, Russia also has shown interest in exporting to India about 6 air-induced propulsion powered conventional submarine for the Navy under the P-75I project, which is Project 75 for the development of or indigenous development of the submarines in India. Historically, also if you look at the relation between India and Russia, so the first submarine of India, that was IAS Calvary, actually was brought from Russia, and even the first aircraft carrier that was functioning or that is functioning in India, that is INS Vikramaditya, is actually a Soviet-made Kiev class submarine that is also has been imported from Russia. Not only that, if you look at the air capabilities, then BrahMos missile is a very significant missile that is being developed jointly by India and Russia. That is how the name comes. The Brahm comes from Brahmaputra and Mos comes from the Moscow river of Russia. Apart from that, if you look at the Air Force capabilities, almost 650 jets that India has in its air squadron are consisting of Sukhoi jets and MiG jets that has been imported from Russia itself. Apart from this, India also have Mirage jet that is imported from France, and also India is trying to build its own jet in the Hindustan that is developed by HAL in Bangalore. On the ground, the battle tanks, obviously the largest reserve of battle tanks in India is made up of T-72 M1 and T-90 tank, again which are imported from the Soviet Union earlier and now from Russia. And we can look at the numbers here. About 66% of the tank of India is T-72 and 33% of the tank is T-90s. That means you can say more than 95% of its battlefield capabilities are from the Russia. However, India obviously understands the changing geopolitical scenario and is trying to explore the alternatives that from where it can import weapons rather than depending only on single country for its weapon. So between 2011 to 15 and 2016 to 20, in this time period, what we see that arms import by India has decreased overall by 33%. This also is believed to be one major reason because of the this delay at the official level or bureaucratic level. However, this 33% decline in arms import across the world, while from Russia, India has declined or the decreased percentage is 53%, which is very, very high. And overall, if you look at the percentage of arms or weapons that is supplied by Russia in this year, it has fell from 70% to 49%. That means 20% of remaining arms import India is doing from other countries like US, France and Israel. Thus, we can see a clear or steadfast attempt to reduce the dependency of Indian military on Russian arms by diversifying its network of arms supply. So in conclusion, what we can say that India's present military arsenal is heavily stocked due to its historical deep ties with Russia, and it is made up of generally Russian-made or Russian-designed equipment. However, many analysts, and due to this, actually many analysts in India and we conclude that Indian military, at least near term, cannot operate effectively without Russian supplied equipment and will continue to rely on Russian weapon system in the near and middle terms. This statement is a very important statement that is given by no one else but the United States Congress. So what we can conclude from this, that due to the historical ties, India will still have to depend on Russia for at least next 10, 15, 20 years. However, India is continuously trying to find alternatives and trying to increase its import basket from the countries like US, France, Israel and even Germany. So that is all for this particular topic. I hope you understood about how India and Russia are intertwined as far as the military defense deals are concerned. We'll come again soon with another interesting topic. Till then, take care. Thank you very much.